that girl who is impressed to see the truth unfolding rapidly, and how fantastic it is to see a lot of influencers who are sharing disinformation just fall flat on their face. It's a bit embarrassing for them, right? Oh, wow. Everyone gets to learn and empower themselves to grow and move forward from those stepping stones. And this weekend is not an exception to the rule, right? So you can tell when there is many truthers or whatever projecting dates once again to be able to scare the bejesus out of everyone, to brace yourselves for, certain resets or blah, 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 right? The same stuff that they've been saying for years. And so what happens when once again, that information that they promise you is legit, that they get the most best information, intel, blah, 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 and it doesn't happen? Is this going to start showing people their true agenda, their true authenticity, and all that sort of stuff, right? Like, it's all very purposeful who is getting exposed right now. And I got this very emotional email from this woman this morning about this influencer who has millions of people, who's a part of a cult, or who is the leader of a cult, and is encouraging people to commit suicide. Right? Like, there's a lot going on there. So I got to listen to what she was sharing with me, and she was wanting to share it on the Arcturian and Palladian group because apparently this person's a big Arcturian, apparently the most beloved Arcturian on this earth. That's cool. You set your own labels, you do you. But it kind of is interesting because if you're sort of projecting yourself to be a certain being, then that is all cool, but it gets a bit embarrassing when you have quantum sessions and then the collectives sort of explain the truth and kind of expose you. And this is why it's very interesting that a lot of these spiritual people and these truther people and just people in general, right? People in general, when you're doing these quantum sessions, even the people you love and adore and just think are just amazing, and then you ask in sessions, it feels like every day when I'm doing a quantum session and asking about a certain influencer or someone that they've paid to get information about their lives, we just want to explore all of this. When we've got the subconscious, when we've got the Mr. SC in the palm of our hands, listening to everything we're asking and begging for, she will explain everything that we need to hear and understand, right? And from their bigger perspective. So they will look. And it is always very interesting and kind of disappointing that we hear so many influencers, are supporting their own agendas and supporting their own collectives. And so we can't be hurt, really, when we know that there is a reptilian starseed. So let's just explore that a little bit more, right? What do reptilian starseeds look like? Human, adorable humans, pretty humans, nice humans, kind humans. They just look just normal like us, right? You don't tell the difference. And this is a really significant thing. All these different souls coming into the humanoid bodies to look similar, so we can just play this game of fantastic life on 3D Earth and be able to explore and learn from each other and grow from each other, empower each other and heal from each other. And, all the fantastic things that are in between. So it's super significant, always purposeful, and we know that. So those reptilian starseeds, for example, I just heard recently that one of the influencers that is talking about this shift and what's happening to this planet is apparent. It was all news to me. So I was like, oh, I love hearing all these different perspectives. Let's explore it in sessions. And the subconscious said that the planet is not having a soul called Sophia or Sophie coming in to replace Gaia when Gaia shifts. That's not true. And so I was like, well, where is they getting the information from, right? That's my favorite question right now for the subconscious is, where are they getting that information from, subconscious? And they'll either say through their limited perspectives and ego or through their collectives. And so when you just ask that next question, well, what is their collectives? And you hear that it's reptilian, it makes so much sense, right? So fantastic for the reptilians to feel and believe and that they have safety here, that they can still live here. And it gives them that hopeism, that word, right, that I'm still trying to figure out how to say properly. So it's really significant what certain collectives are saying and sharing. And, ultimately it's all to empower each other, even if it's disinformation, because we get to sort of feel, this doesn't resonate with me. What do I do with that, right? What do I do with that? Do I blindly trust someone else's information over my own, or do I start noticing my own senses, my own intuition, blah, 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 right? That's always to empower ourselves. Everything's significant there. So it was really interesting getting back to this other influencer. And I sort of had to talk to this woman and sort of remind her that every exit point is a life contract. And no one can, force people to commit suicide. And if someone did try to commit suicide and wasn't their life contract, you can't do it, my friends. It's just bigger than us, right? And if some soul is completely miserable, hating it here, and it's really draining, and they're not wanting to do their life contracts, they're not wanting to fulfill their karma experiences, this is when they get a walkout situation, right? Or something similar. So it may not be a complete walkout, but it may have soul essence help services happening for them. So we know that there is so much to discuss and explore and understand while we are figuring out what the purpose for everything is. And so, trying to remind this person that even Jack the Ripper had life contracts with his victims, as horrific they were and as confusing and horrible and definitely not our cups of tea and certainly not our choices this lifetime, blah, 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 blah. We've got to see it from the bigger metaphysical perspective of everything that we're stumbling over and trying to unpack and learn and grow from. And so the person who was so upset and wanted to name and shame a big influencer because she felt certain things about her, including copying other people's information and a whole lot of stuff. They've got this website about, exposing this big influencer, and she just kept getting stuck on the numbers. Millions, she has millions of followers, and they're all victims to her. And I sort of said, well, this is a great lesson for them to learn discernment. And also when someone's sort of saying, I'm the most special unicorn Arcturian out there, they love me the most, I mean, what does that say to you people? Like, seriously, I mean, run a mile, love them for their lessons, love them for their life journey. But, when we can smell ego and it tastes like ego and it feels like ego, we're out, right? We're normally quite out of it. So there's that. So it was nice to be able to talk to someone who'd never heard of Dolores Cannon. Bless those people, right? So, that's fantastic. It still blows my mind that people haven't heard of Dolores Cannon. That's not a judgment. That's just, how exciting for them to be able to have this information delivered to them at this really important time. Super cool. Also having other conversations with people. It's been so busy. It's like this energy has just pushed and purged a lot of people. So I'm still hearing people trying to do posts on Facebook about med beds, and you can train to be a med bed technician and you can book in med bed services here. It's a long wait, but just pay your money now. What does that remind us of, right? That reminds us of a scam. So we know that the med beds that we hear in sessions are on the ships, on the crafts, right? They're not here. The technology to heal people as they are on what we would call a med bed on ships are not here on Earth, right? There's some sort of like hack, rip-off, fake ones that kind of try. But again, is it hopeism? Because the real med beds on the ships are profound. Super advanced technology, and we're all excited for those people to have that happen to them, for them, and it's it's very purposeful, blah 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 blah. So check yourselves. What are you still listening to? What influences are you still trusting and believing in? And when you're having your own quantum sessions and you're asking about all of your influences, when you find out that your Akashic record reading was full of shit, what do you do with it, right? Like, it's kind of awkward because the subconscious has no game. The subconscious isn't trying to impress you with its ego and to try and like sell you a story about who you are. The subconscious is trying to truly help you with all of your sticking points to this lifetime, to be able to understand certain physical expressions that are still lingering from other lifetimes, and the lessons that you're trying to learn this lifetime compared to all the other lifetimes. Beautiful picture of yourself, right? Beautiful understanding of your soul essence and all of your journeys that you've wanted to explore here on this fantastic lifetime on Earth. or lifetimes on earth, I should say. So it feels like a lot of people are still trying to understand the false information that influencers have given them. And when you want to trust and believe someone so much, you sort of can hold on to your own information, hold on to their information as if it's your own. So my favorite saying now is not quite interns are free for QHHT, but it's close, is, oh, interesting comment. Have you heard that in your own quantum session? So it's kind of the same, but, you know, really making people stop and think, wait, where are you hearing this information from? Where did you get that from? You know, and let's just question it, right? So let's just question this information. The medbed's been here on earth, not quite. You know, we would love that, but it's not quite the truth. The medbeds that are going to be so profound and profoundly healing, you know, are not here. And I've explained that. But there's just so much other things like the shift or where we go and blah, 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 blah. And we can hear lots of sessions. And this is what really drove me to share the raw sessions with people, so you could hear the questions and you can hear the answers and the vibrations and the frequency and the authenticity of the sessions themselves. Yes, there are some that the clients are scared to share the truth, so they're sort of like holding back a little bit. So, you know, and then of course there's some from different collectives which may not resonate with you, but it's all very purposeful and, again, just to tempt you to have your own sessions, because that's the best. That's where the jam is, right? That's where your utter bigger truth is, your own sessions. And, you know, I think people know this by now. So sharing lots of sessions for you to hear the raw integrity of it. And so someone just sort of said to me, oh, you're so mad and angry, Jo, because, you know, people are using your information and owning it as if it's their own information, and you should just let that go and be happy with it because they're a gift to humanity for sharing your information. And I say, well, that's one perspective, but the other perspective is that when they are sharing their information, that's not their true sessions. They were not practitioners, they were not clients in that, and so they're telling you lies. What does it look like, and what does it feel like when someone's telling you lies? Right, they're a little bit scared, they sort of don't really believe in it, and they sort of, you know, God, I hope people aren't going to catch me out. So they're not being authentic. Tickets. They're not real. Like, it's not their sessions. They didn't get it from the archangels. They didn't get it from their whatever, right? They're telling you lies. And so when you feel into someone sharing their information, even if it's the right information from sessions, but they're mansplaining it to you, you're going to get the sense it's not quite right. And I don't know why. Is it the information? And so they're going to then have assumptions that the information that they're sharing is not right because they're buffering it. You are not hearing the full integrity of these sessions and the energy in the sessions. And they're also going to add their own egos. They're going to add their own fears and their limited perspectives of things, right? So they're going to soften it down. You know, we know some Disney versions of, you know, the shift to the new earth because, you know, they don't want to talk about distractions because they think that, you know, we're going to, if we think about distractions, it's going to bottom out our vibrations and energy, and that's not going to help us shift. Fun fact, we can't change what's happening. We can just find balance and neutral and have acceptance. Let's not have surprises. Let's be prepared for everything, right? So being prepared for everything is being open-minded to whatever comes, it will be. Instead of this belief system of there's no distraction, no death. It's all just unicorns and butterflies as we just gracefully shift. Okay, interesting. But unfortunately, it's not quite going to be like that for everyone, right? But we can trust and respect that everything that we are doing to help us shift is going to be the most valuable experience for us, right? And so do we try to have balance and neutral and faith and trust that all is well and not hold on to fear and worry? You know, we have to face our fears at this point. And if we're still afraid of shifting and leaving our bodies, well, there's some great inner work for us, right? So it's super significant. And so this is me. This is how I've approached this work, right? Full honesty, full integrity. You hear all the sessions. And I was quite happy to just share the sessions as they were for you to hear and understand what was going on and to figure out, you know, these sessions are profound, that the same information has been given regardless of what vehicle. And then maybe you can have your own session and do your inner work and find out what's really sticking for you, find out what your responsibilities are, and find out where you're supposed to share your energy and how you're supposed to share your energy, and a whole lot of that sort of stuff, right? Learn your purpose, learn your mission, all that stuff, super significant. And so you can understand why people who take this information thinking that they're entitled to it and pretend it's their own, they don't like getting caught out. 100% don't like getting caught out, right? And they know that people like me are asking because their clients are wanting to know, what's the integrity of so-and-so, that influencer, right? They must be sweating bullets because the truth is always will come out in sessions, 100%. Do we judge them for their choices? Do we judge them for their lack of integrity and morals? It's so easy to do these sessions, so easy. It's so easy to get the higher perspective of information, super easy, right? Super easy. It's actually harder to lie and to steal other people's information and add your fear just for popularity and money and influence. It just feels like a lot of hard work, right, at this point. So unfortunately, a lot of people still weren't able to trust the sessions because there was so much bullshit that was being shared by the truthers and the whatever people who were still limited in their growth and in their understanding. And so there's a lot of disinformation that sort of sounds familiar and similar, but it's the Disney version, right? Everything's just fantastic. There is no distractions. Well, we have to be honest, right? And I understand lots of people don't want to hear about it and, too nervous to hear about certain distractions or certain events. I get it, but we're kind of adults, right? We kind of should be able to hear the full truth. In fact, the full truth is so much more understandable and actually gives us true inner peace than limited, softer versions of it that don't feel authentic at all. So all is stepping stones, and I'm certainly not angry about everyone learning and growing and exploring, because it's certainly not my responsibility how people evolve or to use their free will, but I'm doing this work the way that I felt was appropriate for people to actually hear the sessions. And then unfortunately, because there was so much confusion and so much distractions and delays, do you understand that when people share disinformation, that causes delays? Because people still don't know what to choose. And when they're not interested in having their own sessions, they'll just believe, the most popular influencer, and they will factor in the most popular influencer with the numbers. And how many times have we been told in sessions, do not trust numbers on the internet? Hello, with recent elections in Australia right now. You guys know what I'm talking about with don't trust the numbers. So there's that. So yeah, I'm all for people to empower each other and empower themselves. And what that honestly looks like at the very, very basic core level is having your own quantum sessions, right? Where you channel your subconscious, where you channel your higher self, right? And stop running to other people for their information, right? Because it just doesn't really work. Because you don't know their baggage, you don't know their history, you don't know if they're truly projecting the truth or not. And when you're still learning who to trust or what to trust, always best to trust yourself. Go with you first. You do you first. You love yourself first. You trust yourself first. You empower yourself first. It kind of feels like it has to be in that order, while you can also grow and love others and trust others and empower yourself with all of that sort of stuff. So I know I feel like I've repeated this so many times, but I think people need to understand why I have to do these sessions, these I'm That Girl sessions, right? It's for you to see my integrity, for you to see actually I'm a person, very much still very human, and still have my full range of emotions that I'm responsible for. And I'm still working through understanding the purposes and significances of everything, right? And while I'm not so thrilled to hear that a person with millions of followers is plagiarizing other people's work and giving them limited perspectives, that's purposeful. That's to help them be introduced to certain things, but who knows what their life contracts are with those people. So I've got great balance and neutral, but when it comes to taking information from sessions that I've done with clients and stealing the information and twisting it into a fear-based narrative, I get disappointed with that, because it's a really weird choice in my perspective. So there's that. And I also find those people who talk about their sessions, kind of like what I'm doing right now. I have shared sessions that I've actually talked about, right? And so I was there, I felt those sessions, and you could hear me talking about them. There may be a difference, right? Because you're the audience, you're the listeners, I'm either a practitioner or a client, and then I'm mansplaining my own work, right? And so, that there is different perspectives and twists and slants on it. And so this is, again, why having your own sessions are really powerful, because they're very specific and directive with what the information is for you to hear. And so while we are feeling that energy, and that's amazing, when we listen back to our own sessions, we can still kind of only be ready to hear certain information. And that's all purposeful, right? This is why we have to keep listening back to our sessions to be able to remind ourselves of the content. Because once that memory of the feeling, the certainty of the information and the clarity of the information that was being channeled through to us, when we, grow a month and then come back and listen to it, we sort of forget the full feeling of experiencing the session. But what we are left with is the recording of the session. And that's the real big information that we need to keep hearing until we have been able to apply everything. And now applying everything is a big deal, right? Like that's quite the extra level. I mean, these sessions are easy to do. Applying at every single opportunity and chance is almost impossible. It feels like sometimes, especially when we are being called to project to other people their inner work, right? That's not loving and light. We're actually having to go to their density and be like, hey, Mr. You, ego, what you're doing and why are you doing it? Look at your agenda here. That's going to make them sort of, oh, well, you're not very love and light, are you? You're making me look like I have to do some inner work, and I'm feeling a whole bunch of feelings. And so, it's all a fun journey, right? It's very challenging at the same time. So we just have to be responsible for ourselves and understand the life contracts we have with each other to move and grow forward and empower ourselves. So, is there really a problem with someone sharing disinformation? I think so. Because it's so easy to get the truth, and we would have shifted so long ago if the truth had been shared. And so those people who think, oh, it's all fine, oh, disinformation's fine, that's a learning curve, it is. I understand all of that. I have balance for all of that. But when we are remembering the bigger perspective of what we're supposed to be doing here, do we have the sort of luxury and time to celebrate those who are ego-based? Do we have luxury and time to celebrate those people who are giving disinformation on purpose or because they haven't done their inner work, right? It doesn't feel really nice to kind of remind people, you've got some inner work here, my friend, because it feels like it's a bit bitchy. But reality is we've all got inner work. And so, we will fumble and mirror our inner work to others until we figure out what's going on there. So, super purposeful. So let's just hope, because we've asked recently many times in sessions, can those influencers who need to step up or be exposed for the limited perspectives of information or even just the disinformation, may they all be exposed. And then hello, this weekend is very interesting, right? So let's just hope that those who have to awaken to their influences will see them now from that bigger perspective, from that new, fresh perspective, because we've asked the collective so much to be able to help people who really want the helping to be able to notice these things for themselves. So, we love the connections with the collectives and we love all of their help. And we know that they're not taking people's free will from them at all. It's not possible. I can't take people's free will from anyone. And so, we're just giving everyone seeds to grow. And while we all are walking around looking like those seed bell things, those seeds will germinate, absolutely, when it's the right time. So all we can focus on truly is being our most authentic selves, and to be able to share our truths, and not be holding back ourselves in fear of criticism, or people who are just not ready yet. I'm loving hearing that people are saying they're sharing dreams with their friends and family, they're sharing epiphanies with their friends and family, and they're also sharing the deja vus with their friends and family. And it's actually a great conversation, because no one's being held accountable for a dream or a deja vu or an epiphany or something. You're sharing an experience. And the best thing to do when you're sharing an experience is add your feelings into it. So you're communicating with someone and expressing your feelings towards something. Your own feelings you're allowed to have. 100% you're allowed to have your own feelings, right? But when you're trying to project and claim that other people are feeling a certain way, you've lost them. You've absolutely lost them, because they may not identify with what their own projections of emotions are in their range. And so you just do you, and we will just do each other, ourselves, and own our own truths, own our own feelings, and be able to identify with it. And it feels like a lot of people, from what I'm understanding from sessions, is that they are mislabeling their own emotions. They're not even realizing that projecting certain things. And so there is, we have to explore our own emotions, and acknowledge the range of all of the emotions. I'm pretty sure it was covered in a chapter on the old Mastering the Old Earth, about the range of emotions and actually sitting with them and identifying with them. And they almost said, go through the whole range. You feel into certain emotions, be in that moment of, all of the range of emotions, to be able to identify with it, so you can even introduce yourself to it, because a lot of people seem to not be able to recognize what they're projecting out. So, it's all very fascinating. Anyway, there was other things to say, but just be aware, and be alert to many people having big reactions to the energies, and big reactions to finding out that their favorite influences once again disappointed them. It's going to bottom out their vibrations so much, because they're so excited with anticipation and all this sort of stuff, and so they're just going to be bottomed out. Their hopeism is gone. And so this is a great time to remind them to go within and to explore their own connections, and stop listening to other people's opinions. We've all got opinions, but let's hear from the higher perspective opinions. Call in that Mr. Subconscious and have a great chat. Anyway, guys, I know you know how to infuse your water with love, so enjoy.